At its heart, Leo Tolstoy's War and Peace is a monumental work that blends the personal lives of its characters with the historical upheaval of early 19th century Europe, especially the Napoleonic Wars and their impact on Russian society. The novel is not only about the battles fought on the field, but also the inner conflicts that its characters experience as they wrestle with questions of fate, duty, love, and mortality. Main characters and their journeys. Pierre Bezukhov. Pierre Bezukhov is the illegitimate son of a wealthy count, and at the novel's beginning, he is somewhat of an outsider. He's awkward in social situations and uncertain about his place in the world. When his father dies, and he unexpectedly inherits a vast fortune, Pierre is thrust into the Russian aristocracy. Despite his wealth, Pierre is deeply unhappy. He becomes entangled in a disastrous marriage with the beautiful but shallow Helene Kuragin, which only increases his disillusionment. Over time, Pierre embarks on a spiritual journey, trying to find meaning in a world filled with chaos and suffering. He becomes involved in Freemasonry, hoping to discover a deeper truth through its rituals and beliefs. But his journey is marked by trial and error, and Pierre often feels lost, particularly during the war. One of the key moments in his development is his participation in the Battle of Borodino, where he witnesses the horrific realities of war. Later, during Napoleon's invasion of Moscow, Pierre is captured by the French and experiences the brutal conditions of a prisoner of war. It is through these trials that Pierre begins to achieve inner clarity, emerging with a renewed sense of peace and purpose. Prince Andrei Bolkonsky. Prince Andrei is another central figure in the novel, who begins the story with a sense of dissatisfaction and bitterness. He is married to Liza, a sweet but frivolous woman, and feels trapped by the trivialities of aristocratic life. Like Pierre, Andrei seeks purpose in something greater, and he believes that military glory might give his life meaning. He leaves his pregnant wife behind and joins the Russian army, fighting against Napoleon. Andrei experiences a profound change after being wounded in the Battle of Austerlitz. Lying on the battlefield and staring at the sky, he has an epiphany about the futility of chasing worldly success and recognition. His wife dies during childbirth, further deepening his existential crisis. After returning home, Andrei withdraws from society until he meets Natasha Rostova, a young and vivacious woman who rekindles his passion for life. They become engaged, but their happiness is short-lived. Natasha, swayed by the charismatic Anatole Kuragin, breaks off the engagement, which devastates Andrei. Despite his heartbreak, Andrei continues to search for meaning in life, and his experiences in the war, particularly during the French invasion of Russia, lead him to a greater understanding of love, forgiveness, and mortality. Andrei dies after being gravely wounded in battle. But before his death, he reconciles with Natasha, finding peace in his final moments. Natasha Rostova. Natasha is one of the novel's most vibrant and dynamic characters. At the beginning of the story, she is full of youthful energy and dreams of love and happiness. She grows up in a loving but financially troubled noble family, the Rostovs, who represent a more human and emotional side of Russian aristocracy. Natasha's innocence and romanticism lead her into a passionate engagement with Andrei Bolkonsky, but her naivete makes her vulnerable to the seductive Anatole Kuragin. After her brief infatuation with Anatole, Natasha feels overwhelming shame and regret, which causes her to fall into a deep depression. Over time, Natasha matures through her suffering. When her family faces financial ruin and the horrors of the French invasion, she takes on a more responsible role, helping to care for the wounded, including Andrei. Her personal growth is completed when she marries Pierre Bezukhov, and together they find a sense of stability and domestic happiness. Natasha's journey reflects the theme of growth through hardship, as she evolves from a dreamy, impulsive girl into a grounded and resilient woman. Nikolai Rostov and Maria Bolkonskaya, Natasha's brother, Nikolai Rostov, serves as a contrast to Pierre and Andrei. Nikolai is less philosophical and more practical, devoting himself to duty and loyalty to his family and country. As a soldier, he fights in the war against Napoleon, but unlike Andrei, he does not seek glory. Instead, he is motivated by his sense of honor and responsibility. Nikolai's family faces financial ruin due to his father's poor management of their estate, and Nikolai must grapple with his role as the family's protector. Eventually, Nikolai marries Maria Bolkonskaya, Andrei's sister, a deeply religious and kind-hearted woman. Maria, much like Andrei, has suffered under the stern rule of her father, Prince Nikolai Bolkonsky, but she remains a figure of strength and virtue throughout the novel. Through their marriage, Nikolai and Maria find mutual respect and build a life together, providing a sense of continuity and hope at the novel's end. Historical context and themes. The historical events surrounding Napoleon's invasion of Russia play a significant role in shaping the lives of the characters. The war itself becomes a metaphor for the broader forces of fate, destiny, and chaos that Tolstoy believed governed human life. While individuals like Napoleon and the Russian generals seem to direct the course of history, Tolstoy portrays these figures as swept along by larger, uncontrollable forces. In particular, Tolstoy critiques the idea of great men shaping history. Napoleon, who believed himself to be the master of Europe, is depicted as arrogant and delusional. In contrast, General Kutuzov, who leads the Russian army, is portrayed as a wise and humble man who recognizes that much of life is beyond human control. Kutuzov's strategy is not one of aggressive action, but of patience and letting events unfold naturally. He understands that the war will be won not through great heroic feats, but through endurance. Philosophical reflections. Tolstoy frequently steps back from the narrative to reflect on the nature of history and free will. He suggests that while individuals might believe they are in control of their own lives, they are often subject to forces beyond their understanding, whether those forces are historical, social, or spiritual. This theme is evident in the way the characters' personal lives mirror the broader chaos of war. Despite their personal ambitions and desires, they are constantly confronted with the unpredictability of life. The novel also delves into questions of morality and the meaning of life. For example, Pierre's journey is one of searching for spiritual truth. He initially looks for answers in intellectual movements like Freemasonry, but ultimately he finds peace not in philosophical abstractions, but in the simple day-to-day moments of life: friendship, love, and family. Tolstoy seems to suggest that true wisdom comes not from grand ideals, but from accepting life as it is, with all its imperfections and unpredictability. The conclusion, in the end, War and Peace, offers a sense of closure by focusing on the domestic lives of the surviving characters. Pierre, who began the novel as an uncertain and lost figure, finds contentment in his marriage to Natasha and his role as a father. Nikolai and Maria, too, settle into a peaceful family life. The novel ends not with grand historical moments, but with scenes of domestic tranquility, suggesting that personal relationships and family are the true sources of meaning in life. By blending the personal with the historical, Tolstoy creates a work that is both intimate and epic, exploring the full range of human experience, from love, war, and suffering, to peace, forgiveness, and redemption.